Pennsylvania joins me now. Carlos, okay, we've gone through this. India is going to be heavily tariffed because they buy and sell Russian oil. My question is, are tariffs now a foreign policy weapon?
Hey, Stuart. Well, I won't know about a weapon, but it's certainly a way to even things out and to make things how they should be fair. And what I mean by that is this. Look, India buys a tremendous amount of Russian oil. Before the Ukrainian invasion, India was buying 1% of its oil only from Russia because of some deal that was made where it was allowed for Russia to sell at a lower price. Their purchases went up to 40% of their overall capacity. So that's gas backwards in the first place. That was a ridiculous deal that I know the President Trump is correcting. But on the trade side, look, we've been very patient with India, right? Poor country, all that, trying to help. They've had a 30 to 40, depending upon the product, 70%, 100% on cars, tariffs on us. And we've had a 2%, 2.3% tariff on them. It's kind of like this. It's like a friend that you've been lending money to for years. And then you say, hey, bud, you need to start paying us back. And they get very mad at you and say, hey, you're not an ally, you're not a friend. It's very similar to that. President Trump is going to be correcting a lot of wrongs here. And one of them has to do with this Russian oil situation. I mean, imagine this. Here we are, American people are putting in $250 billion towards defense of the Ukraine. And yet we're letting countries like India, our so-called allies, fortify the Russian war machine with the oil purchases. This is ending under Trump. These things are being corrected under President Trump.
Got it. The Congressional Budget Office estimates that the Republican mega bill, big beautiful bill, will raise the federal deficit by over $4 trillion over a decade. $4 trillion extra on the deficit. But, it seems to me that their forecast depends upon them taking a low estimate of future growth. So their estimate of a $4 trillion excess on the deficit, I think that doesn't work. What do you say?
I say the CBO is never in doubt, but never right. And they tend to be wrong. Look, on the IFR, the Inflation Reduction Act, they were off by 700%. Stuart, these government entities just continue to be wrong. They continue to use the same models. They continue to do the same things. They've always done it. And they're off, in this case, with the IFR of 700%. They were so far off in the Trump era tax reductions that created $800 billion in added revenue. They stated it was going to be far less than that. So I don't agree with them. They use a very static model. They don't use any dynamic modeling. Look, 1% reduction in interest rates. Now, they're not taking this into consideration. Will reduce our deficit by $500 billion. A 1% increase in GDP will increase our revenues by $350 billion. There are smarter ways of going about this, and these are the things that the president is going to do. But I'll also tell you this. The Commission on Tax Reform came up with their number. That's a bipartisan group of members of Congress. Their number was $800 billion. And meanwhile, you have the CBO at $4.1 trillion. They're wrong. They're used to being wrong. They're not called on it. Their models need to be reformed.
Thanks for straightening it out. Congressman Dan Meuser, Republican. Thanks for joining us, sir. Appreciate it.